Welcome back to In the Arena podcast. Today I'm so fortunate to be joined by Jordan Taufua, current Manu Samoa player, Leon representative, ex-Crusader, Leicester Tigers. Mate, I could go on with a list of other clubs in New Zealand around it too, but mate, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. Really excited to chat to you. Mate, my first question is legitimately always, what's your story? Rip into it and just let us know. Who are you? Where you're from? Tell us your story.
It is. What's up, everybody? Cheers, Benny, for having us here on your podcast, man. It's been a while, man, since we connected. But name's Jordan Taufua, 31 years old, originally from Auckland. Schooled life all up in Auckland until I was 18. Made my way down to Christchurch. Went down there to study at Lincoln University on a sports scholarship. And then pretty much got picked up from the Canterbury Academy down there. Wasn't all smooth sailing. Pretty much living the uni life and struggle with no money. But through I guess being resilient and hard work, I kind of made my way through the system and actually played Samoa in the 20s, which kind of opened the gate to international footy. And then the following year I made New Zealand under 20s and then kind of pretty much picked up real quick from there. Signed with Tasman Marcos in 2012 and then pretty much got loaned out from Canterbury that year and then managed to play 10 games and then got contracted got a contract to the Crusaders for about 2-3 years I think, and then pretty much 2013 was a full-fledged Crusader. So spent most of my time in Christchurch, about 10 years, but 7 to 8 years with the Crusaders. Played about 101 games for the Crusaders, and then decided in 2019 that was my time to head overseas and signed over to Leicester Tigers in the UK. COVID hit, and then was signed for 3 years, but then basically things happened and. Now I'm in France playing for Lyon with LOU. So been here for 2.5 years and enjoying my time here in France. But I guess that's the fast way of explaining my career. But yeah, man, it's been a hell of a journey. Been able to play professional rugby for the last 10, 11 years, man.
That's such a wicked story to follow it along step by step. Just you can say just experiencing along the way, and the first thing that you said was it's not been smooth sailing. Like you talk about the adversity straight up from university, but yourself, like going back through your career, there's been different times of different setbacks and adversity, and we were just talking about before we started the show, like currently going through an injury and rehab and things like that, but you've had some other times in your career as well where there's been moments that things might have been aligning in one way, yet a setback and an injury has kind of pointed you into a different direction. And I've mentioned this in one of my other podcasts, but I love Matthew McConaughey and his book Green Lights, and he talks about some of the red lights in life, like this adversity is sometimes the biggest green lights for us and project us on a different path, right? So exactly. One of those moments was when you broke your forearm and it ruled you out of representing New Zealand, right? In a moment like that, the emotions that you experience, what's that like? But how do you deal with it in terms of moving forward?
Yeah, so 2018, I got named in the All Black squad for the June test window. We were playing, I think, 3 games against France, and it was a hell of it was a proud moment for me and my family. But then I actually started in June. First day of training, I actually, it's like a 2-hour session we had in the field, and then my calf kind of seized up first. And I thought it was just a tight calf, but later down the track, and 2 weeks later, they had a scan on, and it was actually like I don't know how big, an 11 centimeter tear in my calf. So they ruled me out for 6 weeks. So that was my first, kind of like you made it, but then boom, it was taken away from you. And I guess for me then it was just basically, all right, let me just spend the 6 weeks and get back onto the field so I can play. managed to get back onto the field 6 weeks later, played a couple of games with Crusaders, and then we were in the semi-finals against the Hurricanes. And then first, basically 20 minutes, that's when I broke my forearm, my left one. So that kind of ruled me out of the India tour. I still had hope to make the India tour, but with all the timing and the year was, I was out for like 2.5 months trying to rehab it. Got back, and then my timing of it, I think there was only about 1 or 2 games in the India tour, and that was against. And if they selected me, it would have been against Ireland, and it's a big. They're a big team to come back and try and debut. So, it was a decision that the All Blacks made that they were going to take me because it's just too much of a risk. So getting kind of turned down in 2 times in 1 year, to not represent New Zealand, but kind of led me on a pathway as you reset yourself and reset your goals, and you kind of see where you are, and what's next, what's the next step in your career, and that's when I made the decision to go overseas. So to answer your question, there was a lot of I guess red zone, in those two moments, because one time you're at a high, and then bang, it's just the next year, you're kind of at your low point. But for me, it was what got me through those 2 big injuries with my calf and my forearm was actually just I've told the story before. I had like a pity party for myself, maybe like 1 or 2 days. When you feel sad and you feel like, man, why me? But then I kind of just switched. I don't know if I don't know. I think it's just my mindset. I just switched, and I go, all right, what do I do in this time now? How do I get back in? How do I be better? And then every day, just winning every day, not focusing on the end result, just each day, winning each day. And, that's how I got through those hard times, was winning each day. Because sometimes when you get caught up in the whole thing, your injury, this injury is going to take me out for this long. But actually look at it if you look at it at a point where, okay, I've got this long to better myself, and then work on other things in my life, outside of footy, or that you can enhance your learning, or your just you as a person. That helps massively across those big injuries.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned goal setting in there, and in one of the interviews that I watched with you, you talked about how crucial that's been throughout your entire career. Was that what I introduced to you from an early age when you understood how serious you were going to take rugby in your career?
Yeah, it was. Well, I had to, because I, coming from Auckland to Christchurch, I've got no family in Christchurch. So when I left Auckland to pursue a career and to go to uni and also pursue a career in rugby, professional rugby, I kind of put all my eggs in one basket and just went, look, this is what I want to do, and I believe in this so much. I'm going to give everything I can to get there. And I knew from there, basically, you can't just free ball it and just hope that you're going to make it without planning. Talent gets you so far, but it's actually the person that works the hardest beats the talent.
Yeah.
Back then, I wasn't talented. I was just driven. I just had a mindset of it. I was like, nah, I couldn't take no for an answer. But yeah, man. So setting goals was I started with it when I moved down. Everything I did, pretty much not just goals in footy, but also goals in uni, goals to where I wanted to be in my training, goals where I wanted to be in my life. You kind of just set different goals, and then they're not massive goals. Ones that you can actually go, okay, cool, in 6 months or a year's time, this is where I'm going to be, and then you track yourself. You don't want to be. You set goals for the long. So what I say is that you got long-term goals, short-term goals, and then you got your goals that in the middle that you can meet. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And then do you take that, as you said, like day by day, like an injury? So then you just set little things up during the day, little processes for you to gain those wins.
100%. And when you get an injury, okay, cool, you know when your surgery date is, and then you know how long the recovery time is. So then each day, you just win that day. But I set goals to just, depending on what the injury is, you obviously listen to your physios and your doctors, but then you actually find out you actually have a lot of time, um, not training because sometimes you have to rest. And, the first 2 to 3 months, if it's a neck injury, you can't do anything for 3 months. And then you start training where if it's a forearm, you're back in like 14 weeks. So it's just winning each day, and then basically, okay, cool, this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do the best that I can. It's not trying to do too much. It's just doing what you need to do and just doing it. Not shortcutting those days.
Yeah, makes complete sense. There's two things that you said earlier as well. One of them was about your mindset when you were at uni and early, but throughout your career, you've developed this beast mentality, this beast mindset, and you write it on your arm, right, for every game. Now, I think in one of the interviews that you did, you told a story about how that was like an identity thing that came up, and how that came about was through being asked, what do you kind of want to be recognised for as a player? How did you, like, that process of figuring out that identity, how did that like change your behaviour and how you kind of understood who you were?
Yeah, it's just, I guess, looking back, it might have been 2014, and just finding out who you are as a person, but also who you are as what do you want to be identified as a player. And I came up with goals to myself, like I wanted to, I was behind like guys like Richard McCaw, Kieran Reid, basically all these All Blacks, and the Crusaders, quality players, Matt Todd, the Whitelock brothers, so, and all of that, I was like, okay, cool. These players are in front of me, but what do I have that they don't? And then I just went pretty much the physicality side. That's why I'm here, is to attack, to tackle hard, to run hard. So kind of like took that upon myself, and I said, okay, cool, that's what I'm going to do for this team, and no one else is going to do it better than me. So, you know what I mean? Like, you find out what your strengths and your weaknesses are, and then where you fill into the team. And then you go, cool, how can I enhance this team? How can I enhance my skill and pretty much be the best at it? So sitting in a room, and we're talking about, identities and stuff like that, I actually went home and, really thought about it. I was like, fuck, man, who do you want to be known for? What do you want people to see, your fans to see? What do you want the opposition to see and feel? And pretty much I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to pretty much be a beast. And then I went deeper and took the beast and just turned it into an acronym, and then that's how that's when it meant more to me, because it felt more real. B, be brave. E, bring the energy. A, fucking aggression. Your S, your set of skills. And T, be tough. And then fuck, that's it, man. And then, at the start of it, the boys probably thought it was just a joke, but, kind of, it evolved, and that's what I started. When you start playing and you actually really dive into it, and I don't know, you kind of lose yourself in it. But man, that's when everyone stopped laughing and actually took you serious and go, okay, actually, this guy means what he says. He walks it, he talks it. So yeah, man, that's how my mindset of Beast came about.
Yeah, that's class. And I mean, it's a bit different, right? When if you just write it down but you don't back it up through the actions itself and actually show it, then it's like, what have you done it for? What have you spent the time going away thinking about and really like actually connecting? Now, how do you separate that as well completely from who you are off the field?
Yes and no, because you have the beast on the field, but then off it, I'm always trying to evolve and be better. But I'm real relaxed off the field. I know what you call it, a gentle giant. I like to have a laugh and joke about and enjoy. I love doing stuff outdoors. Connecting with people. Very big people's person, but yeah, I guess when I get on the field and I know who I need to be for 80 minutes. Doesn't matter if I know you or not. If you're not on my left or right, I'm out there to get you.
You got a target on your back straight away.
Oh, well, don't mind it. I accept the challenge. I walk towards the challenge, if anyone wants to, and that's what I loved about it. I thrived off it. Someone was trying to come at me, I'll be like, I'll remember it and I'll just keep going, I'll just keep going. And if someone hit me, I'll get up and go, yeah, that was a good hit. And then I'll run at that same person again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a screw loose, but if people run towards me, I will try to hit the biggest guy in the team. And then I'll go to the next person. You know what I mean? Like, I just loved it. I fed off it, and I still do.
It's brilliant. Yeah, fair enough. Is there do you have a process to get into that state of mind? Like, do you have like a physical routine or like a mental routine to actually, it's game day, you're like, right, I really gotta fucking go here. This is it.
Man, it's funny because back in the day, man, my game day routine to get to get into that state was I had before the warm up, I was warming up. But it was like a pre-warm up before the warm up, which I did, and it was like an hour long. Man, I had to cut that back because I would be drenched in sweat, and honestly, I'll be by the time we went out to the warm up, and then by the first half, at halftime, I was just completely dead. So I kind of had to pull it back, but I have a routine. I'm real chilled all the way up to the game, and then I have my playlist, and I pretty much play these are about 3 songs I kind of play pretty much every game for the past 10 years. You know what I mean? So I got these songs, and I do my my stretches, go through. I like to visualize, which I still do now, and visualization is a big thing because if you close your eyes and then you imagine what you do, what you're gonna do on the field, and just scenarios in your head, and you go out there, it's just, and then it happens, man. It's you're ready for it. You're ready for anything. So visualization is big for me, and yeah, man. Then I'll pretty much just go out there and do it. Yeah. So yeah, big. I don't. Oh, actually, I forgot to say. Yeah, before I run up to every game, I actually look in myself in the mirror, and I literally just tell myself, "All right, I need you. You got me. All right, sweet, let's go." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm keeping myself accountable every game, and that's what I do on game day. Look in the mirror and I tell myself, "Are you here?" Because at the end of the game, when you walk off that field and you look, and win or lose, you look yourself in the mirror, and you're the one that's staring back at you is pretty much the one that's going to tell you gave it your all, or you cheated yourself. So yeah, those are the 3, I guess: visualization, and kind of just look in the mirror and I tell myself, "I need you."
Bro, that's powerful. That's powerful, man. When you're the one that's going to come into a bit of leadership, I guess, but like when you're the one you're the only one who can actually understand when you go through, like for me it's 90 minutes, you're the only one who can say, right, I genuinely put everything into it today. And if you walk off and you think like, okay, maybe I performed well, but I didn't give it all, you still have that like guilty feeling inside where you're like, you know what, I'm not actually fulfilled here.
That's it, man. And the only one that can tell you to your face is yourself when you look at yourself, because I keep myself accountable is when I look look at myself in the mirror and I tell myself, all right, I need you, let's go. And then, you know what I mean, everything else doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like the noise, the opposition, it's just you, and you're competing against yourself. And I guess that's what's kind of helped me to where I am today, with in the leadership roles, with all these young guys coming through. Is I don't really talk much, but I kind of lead with my actions.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. That's one thing that we've actually both got in common. We're captains of teams in a country where we don't even speak the language, bro. And I don't I don't know about you, but when I first got asked to do the role, I was like, I genuinely don't know how I'm gonna be able to connect with these guys on a level where I'm communicating in that way where I think my feelings and words are going to be understood. Is that what you experienced first and foremost?
Yeah, when I first, man, exactly everything you've just said, man, is what I experienced. When I got told, because I only played 5 games. When I got here, I played 5 games, and then I tore my pec. And then the following season, we were doing preseason, and I was like, yeah, sweet as, you know. And then the coach comes up to me and goes, I want you to be my captain. And I was like, mate, first of all, I can't speak French. Um, and second of all, mate, like I've just got him here, but he's, you know, the coach at the time was saying, look, I want you to be my captain because you just play. Nothing changes. You just do be you. And I was like, all right then, sweet. But I guess I was lucky enough that I had a good leadership group around me. Because my French is not the strongest. It's a lot better than what it was when I first got here. But I find that the boys will follow you into the, you know, into the pits, into the war, out on the field. If you everything you do is just freaking, you just go for it. You know, what I mean, you leave nothing. You leave nothing. You know, you leave no stone unturned when you get on that field. Um, but what I do is what I've learned as being a leader here in the French club in a foreign country is to actually go to your leadership group. I don't know if you have a leadership group, but I give messages to the French boys to feed back to the team. You know what I mean? So it's not all on you. You kind of spread the leadership around, and yeah, basically that's what I do. I try and, for me as a captain, I try not to talk as too much during the week. I let my leaders, all the senior players, do most of the talking, and I just chip in when I can. But then when it comes game day, that's when your voice is most heard. So that's how I've kind of managed it here at the moment. And it's, you know, I'm still learning. I'm still getting better into learning my French and just understanding the culture here in France. But yeah, that's what I've pretty much done in the last couple of years I've been here.
It's awesome, and you mentioned some pretty incredible names before in terms of the rugby world: Richie McCaw, Kieran Reid, the likes of Matt Todd, and people when you're at the Crusaders, right? Like those are some inspirational people look up and they aspire to be like them, and they're leaders in their own right each way, individually through their actions and through who they are as people too. And when you were in that environment, that culture of the Crusaders, was there things that you picked up yourself in terms of what they did, and do you bring that into a leadership role, or as you said earlier, and your coach just wants you to be you? Do you kind of make a combination of both those things, or have you kind of made your own way, dove into it where you understand it, your unique leadership style?
Yeah, so man, I was, you know, privileged enough to be under great leaders pretty much my whole career. You know, Kieran Reid, Richie, Dan Carter. You know, had Wyatt Crocker there, most kept Super Rugby, Corey Flynn, like just to name just a few. But most of that Crusaders team in that era, the early era, were just all natural leaders. But so I was pretty much learning off these guys, and that's all I knew. It's funny because looking back now and to where I'm now, you know, it's what I experienced back then is not it's not the norm, which I thought was the norm until I left New Zealand, and you get a whole completely different kind of standard and level of professionalism. But going back to all of that is that, man, what I thought was the norm there, and just learning off these guys, man, just taking bits from all of them, and then basically for me, I just found what worked for me. From learning off those guys, what I took away from them was, you know, just basically, the whole when I was just talking about spreading the leadership roles between your group, is not taking it upon yourself, because in the Crusaders it was all basically player driven. Most of the stuff, you know, the players were leading meetings, leading the team talks, talking to the boys, you know. And it was the players that were keeping each other honest. You didn't need the coach to yell out, you know, you need to do this. It was the players that were doing it, you know. And I basically take that into my leadership now here in France. So yeah, I guess taking those bits and then just basically, bringing my experience and the way I see leadership. Whereas, you want to be an open book. It's not a dictatorship. We work together.
Yeah, and obviously the Crusaders have got it's a legacy as well, right? And I think that was one of a legacy was quite important to you at the Crusaders, right? And you mentioned 101 caps as that was it the first Pacific Islander to get 100 caps for the Crusaders. How important is that word legacy to you and to the franchise of Crusaders itself?
Yeah, that's massive, man. Like just even saying, for me, just even like say I played 101 games for the Crusaders for one of the top teams in world rugby, like one of the top clubs, won so many championships, but just to be up there with those with some of the legends of the game is some feat. But that legacy that I wanted to leave behind was when it was pretty much in my last year and I figured out I could get to 100 games. I was like, man, you know what? This is what I want to leave behind, and for the next generation and for the next after that, Pacific Island boy or Māori boy, anyone. But they can say, you know what? You don't have to stay in your environment to make it. You don't need to. You can go somewhere else and prove people wrong and make it big there, because anything's possible when you put your mind to it. And that's such a cliche, but I believe in it, man. Yeah, for me to go and play 100 games and then to see all the other boys get there, like Richie Moanga, David Havili, a few more PI boys in there. So, hopefully their legacy continues.
No, it's awesome. And we just mentioned culture in terms of the Crusaders itself before, but now representing Manu Samoa. Talk to me about the culture there, because you mentioned in an interview, bro, where it's like it was so powerful, and I thought it's just so deep, because in this world that we're surrounded by success and fame and what we see on social media in terms of the world of sport, you mentioned that representing Manu Samoa is about the people. It's about the pride, and just to be able to pull on that jersey in the sense of what it actually means. Can you go into detail about how important that is compared to what we see on social media in terms of like the fame, what success and what the world of sport is really portrayed as?
Yeah, man. So, putting the Manu Samoa jersey on for me, it meant so much, because it's not just me. I'm not representing myself. I'm representing my family. I'm representing my faith. I'm representing all of Samoa all around the world. And believe it or not, man, there's so many Samoans all around the world, everywhere. It's for me, we played against Georgia in November, and there were Samoans in Tbilisi. I'm like, man, what are you guys doing over here? You're far away from the island. But it's just seeing fans come from all over just to support a small nation. Man, that's honestly, it's incredible, the love and support that we have in the Manu Samoa. But the culture to go and play for Manu is like going home. That's the feeling I have when I go back to the Manu Samoa. It's you got people, you got players and boys. You're all basically related by blood. You know what I mean? That's what makes it strong. It's not the money, because you ain't getting you're not getting paid the thousands or the millions when you go play for your country, for your island team. You're basically rich in love, you're rich in blood, because that's what keeps us all together. And everyone's pretty much, you talk to anyone in the Manu or any Pacific Island team, it's basically you've all come from a similar background when you're young, come from nothing. Your parents worked so hard to basically make a living in somewhere else, where they had to go New Zealand, Australia, wherever, to give you the life that you live today. And and a lot of the boys, 9 times out of 10, we were all cut from the same cloth. So to go back, just to put the jersey on for the Manu, you're playing for something even bigger than yourself. So that to me is powerful. From the professional era of sport, you make international team. Obviously, you're proud of us. For us, it's not about money. It's about representing our family and where you come from. You know, it's your roots. But yeah, man, that's what the Manu means to me.
It's incredible. It's so pure. It's really special to see, and like I think it's pretty obvious to people who watch the game that it comes out as well. Now I find this super interesting, man. Like obviously growing up in New Zealand, being surrounded by rugby culture and how the game is played, the physical aspect, but the thing that I take away from it is the respect of what rugby players have for themselves, for the other opponents, and for referees, and for everyone in the game, really, which I think is incredible, and I struggle to see it in the world of football, man. It's a real shame, but like growing up in New Zealand, it's such a cool thing to see. How do you think that's part of it? That like humble, you can't really say it for everyone, but like that humble, like it's just a matter of togetherness where you know that brothers are putting themselves on the line for each other, like day in, day out. Is that what it comes down to?
Oh man, I don't know. It's just when you're playing, yeah, I guess playing for each other, and you know, it's what do they call it? They call it it's a what do you call it? Rugby is a grub sport that played by gentlemen, isn't it?
Hooligans game played by
Hooligans
gentlemen.
game played by gentlemen. You know what I mean? And you know, we just leave it all out on the field for 80 minutes, and then you go and have a beer with each other. But you know, all that, you know, chit chat for rugby. It's yeah, the respect to the ref. It's like, you know, I don't know. It's to me, that's just what rugby is. That's what rugby pretty much portrays. And you know, sometimes, you know, in some places, you know, when it can portray like football, you know, you just argue with the ref and you just go back and forth, and just, like, dramatic falls. And yes, if you saw that in a rugby, I'm pretty sure if you saw that in a rugby, you know, you get laughed off as a player, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's just, you know, from a young age in New Zealand, you know, you're taught about respect, and rugby's, you know, number one sport in New Zealand. And you know, you'll never see anyone come out of and try and, you know, do it themselves and be a hero, and you know, because you all want to go together. And you know, that's what I love about the sport, man. It's a hooligans game played by gentlemen, you know.
Yeah, that's the culture, isn't it? It's comes back to, I think it ties a lot of those different things in there. It's like the identity that you're talking about yourself, but then including that in the team culture. I think it's so powerful. But I do want to jump back to the identity thing, because, as you said, beast on the field, off it you can establish who you are and go into different things. Now, you're a talented guy in terms of your performing arts, your dancing, your videos you created on during lockdown, things like that. So do you think it's important for yourself to be able to separate the eggs in terms of who you are and your identity into the different areas? In terms of, you've got your rugby, then you've got your other stuff outside. Does that actually help you to concentrate more in different areas of your life?
Yeah, I guess about, you know, you got to kind of like step in, be that person, be who you are, and then step out, you know, because rugby is not the end all be all. You know, when I was younger, that was all in my head, you know, man, because when you're 18 and you just want to go, bang, you know what, well, I'm going to be a professional rugby player, that's it, I'm going to give it everything. But then it's not when you get a few years in and you're like, actually, I've got this career only lasts for like, if you're lucky enough, you get to 35 in footy, you know. And I'm pretty sure there's a stat, I think it's the average professional athlete's life is about 4 years, I don't know, two to four. You know, so for me, like now, I guess when you get older, you know, it's easier to just step away because you've done so much. But when you're younger, it's quite hard. But yeah, me personally, I don't let the on-field kind of affect me off the field. You know, I have my own thing going on off it. You know, I hang with my mates. You know, finding ways to make more money. You know what I mean? Like just, and then, you know, I love, just like I said, I love traveling. I like going to see places. And then when I come into rugby, man, I'm just banging. You know, it actually keeps you fresh, because if you're thinking about footy or rugby or whatever British sport 24/7, man, you get cooked. I tell you now, man, you're gonna cook yourself, and pretty much that's when you go from there to like bang down. And I've seen it happen a lot, man. Guys that just focus 24/7 on footy, they shut everyone else off, and they forget to actually hold on, bro. That's just one part of your life. It's not your whole life, you know. So yeah, man. My advice to be, man, is to know when to be in and then to step away, and that will keep you pretty much always fresh. And I know for me, it keeps me young. I think it keeps me young, bro. It keeps my mind young. Because as soon as you start, you get too far, man, and then you're like, bro, I think I'm done. And then you start to not enjoy it. The enjoyment's gone, because that's the most key thing, bro, is actually enjoying, having fun. Because why did you start it when you were a kid? You wanted to play footy, you want to play rugby, you want to play whatever you wanted to, because you had fun. So if you don't have fun, and you lose that fun, bro, you got to finish up. You're done.
Facts, man. Big facts. I think that's it though. That's it. When you get trapped in that identity of thinking that you're just this one athlete, this is something that I've struggled with big time, and I've talked about it before. But like when I was in college, going through that process, I just completely lost who I was. I was trying to portray this image of myself in terms of successful in all these areas, but really I was just defining myself as this footballer, and it came down to my mood was determined by training, mate. And it's like when you make a mistake at training, and then all of a sudden you can't get it off your mind because you're so consumed by it. It's having those outlets to be like, you know what, I'm a brother. I've got two great younger sisters where that has nothing to do with what I just done in training. And to be able to separate that, and then, as you said, like find other ways to make money, explore businesses, your performing arts and things, like I think it's so key for any young person or any athlete who's going down that path, and something I'm a big advocate for. For yourself, bro, like you've obviously got other things on the go. What's plans going forward in terms of you're going through rehab at the moment, yeah, and then going forward, what do you see yourself getting into?
After footy, or just right at the moment?
Next little while after footy, it's what's on your mind?
The moment, so right now the Rugby World Cup's in September, and I've just been picked to obviously be selected to go into the squad. So I'm actually coming out of my rehab and starting to get into some training. So hopefully my goal is pretty much all on the World Cup, here in France. So hopefully if all goes well, I'll make the squad. And then obviously after that, we're still playing footy in here in France. But on the outside of footy, I'm always looking away. Like I love investing in properties. I got into the property game a few years ago. Been lucky enough to have good people around me, and it's just dabbling in that, and also into some shares. But got interested into the property game. So after World Cup, what I'm planning on doing is doing my papers in finance. So no one actually expected me to be doing this, but I kind of really love the way it works, and I think there's a big gap in the market for back in New Zealand, or as professional athletes, of how to invest your money and how to keep making money when you finish. Basically that's my plan. But also doing a bit of thinking of doing a bit of coaching as well. I wanted to step away from the game to come back in a different mindset, from a player to a coach. So we'll see how that goes. But got a few things going on. But right now my main one is getting into the World Cup squad and playing for Manu Samoa.
It's awesome, man. It's so good to see you coming healthy and that you're available for, and honestly wishing you the absolute best. Really excited just to see you get back out there and perform and just do your thing, man. Get back into that zone.
Thanks, cheers,
yeah,
man.
Of course. Bro, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. Some of the insight and your story itself is just incredible. So thank you for sharing.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me on here, and happy to share my story, man. And if there's a message out there for anyone, man, if you want to do something, you go get it. Don't let anyone else tell you that you can't, because only you know.
Love that, man. Thank you, bro.
Sweet as, my man.
Cheers.